So I would give this one a 5 out of 5, personally. And Spice, I would probably give it like, I don't know. I would say 1. Just for like the flirting and the little romance and relationship kind of blossoming. But this is a book I'll never stop recommending to people. I definitely highly recommend this book if you're just getting into fantasy. I feel like it's such a good start. If you've never read fantasy, to kind of get into it, because it's like a soft launch, but it has, a building blocks to become something more. And I just love all the characters. I think they're great. She did a really good job at describing who these people are, what they look like, what their motives are, like down to the side character. Like every single character she gave a purpose. And I just think it's so fun to read while also being like kind of nervous for these characters towards the end. And I like books like that. So I love this book.
So I rate the book 5 out of 5. I absolutely love the book. As far as Spice goes, I think I said 2.5 out of 5. It was definitely a little bit better than the last book that we read. But I think it was the pace of this book. It just like kept me in it with all like the different plots going on. I definitely loved how Megan said the relationship blossoming. I like the depiction of it. I think what sealed it for me was the one fight scene towards the end of the book. Absolutely loved how it was written. I could see everything in my mind. It would just like I couldn't stop. Literally couldn't put the book. So I definitely recommend the book. Love it. Would read it 100 times over.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I'll give my rundown, but I totally agree that she really gets you into that scene. You can see everything with the detail she gives. Yes, I would recommend it. I would rate it 4 out of 5. The only reason I did that was because spice level I said 0.5 out of 5, and I know it's only going to get better from here, so I just did 4 out of 5 for now because it was a really good start to the whole series. I am a big Hunger Games fan,
Hell
and I could
yeah.
definitely, yeah, I can definitely get those vibes from the start of when she got to back to the glass castle, and I love that. So I hope that kind of continues. But I really enjoyed the fantasy magical component. So I never really read a lot of magical fantasy books, but I can tell that this one is right up my alley because just there's so many twists and turns, and again, she does such a great job describing everything in detail that I can vividly just imagine it while reading. And I'm really excited to follow the love triangle that's going on. And so yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I'll go next. I really like agree with pretty much everything Kimmy said. I gave this one an 8 overall, or 4, sorry, 4 out of 10. Gosh, I can't do math. 4 out of 5.
There you go.
I I definitely like the action. Like there's good fight scenes, and Brie and Megan know this about me, but like I usually read like murder mystery, suspense thrillers. So like I like that we got that, like, the champions were disappearing, who did it, the whole black ring with the count. So like I like to kind of touched on that type of thing. And then definitely like the Hunger Games like competition, like who's gonna come out on top. That was like really attention grabbing. So I only gave it a 1 for spice, and like Kimmy said, the only thing I really cared about was like a blossoming love triangle. So but I know like as we keep going, I'm sure more relationships will develop. But yeah, I really like this one.
That leaves me. I literally finished this book like 10 minutes ago.
So it's fresh in your mind.
I would give this probably a 3.5 out of 5. for overall rating, Spice, I would give it a 1 out of 5. 3.5, I didn't think it was absolutely the best thing I've ever read in terms of fantasy and magical systems and stuff, but I think that with Sarah J. Maas, she's very slow with it, and she's gonna expand on it. It's gonna get better. She's gonna explain it. If I had to describe this book, I would probably say it's almost equivalent to like A Court of Thorns and Roses. It was a little bit slower for me, but it was definitely better than Assassin's Blade. Lots of action, trials, mystery. I'm trying to read between the lines. I love a good romance, and now to add a little love triangle in it, which is, I haven't actually read any books, I think, that had like a love triangle. I like that we're getting a little more magic at this point, and I'm just excited to kind of expand on that magic system. I want it to be explained. I want to know what these words are. I want to know what these other dimensions are, how powerful they can be. These damn rings, the moment they mentioned that little ring, I was like, oh, that's it. That little thing right there, that's sus. So,
I said that too. I was like, what's this guy doing with that ring?
so yeah, no, I definitely liked it. I would definitely recommend it. Don't let my
Nice.
3.5 fool you. That's just in comparison to other higher. I feel like this will be eventually higher fantasy, but it doesn't have a lot of right now, a lot of like mystical creatures and things like that. It's only just starting.
Nice. I mean, for mythical creatures, I would say it doesn't go that hard. Um, like as hard as Akatar did. If you're looking for like, I don't know, like the mythical stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like dragons and like griffins or
No, no,
whatever, like
no
winged
griffins. No
winged
griffins.
creatures, like yeah, that's what.
No winged men. So sorry.
Oh, how dare she?
No winged Batman. Um. So before we get into topics, I kind of want to put Kimmy on the spot and have her talk about her note system.
That's the
All
teacher.
right, so yes, I am a teacher. I used to read a lot in high school and a little bit in college. Then it kind of fell off there, and now I'm getting back into it. But as I'm going through, I have my sticky notes, and I like to handwrite all my notes because I feel like I'm in the story and I have to like jot little things down. But it's come to my attention that I used probably like 50 or 60 sticky notes, and I had to go find them all. And I just have like random page numbers with little thoughts, and trying to make all those little sticky notes into cohesive points and topics was a little tricky. So I reached out to my fellow ladies here to see what a better way would be.
I want to know what your favorite sticky note is that you wrote, or like one that like
It
you
probably,
like wrote down. You're like, oh my god, I gotta write this down.
well,
All of them is
all right.
the answer. All of
I
them.
mean, I mean,
Keeps them
I
all
did a lot
close.
of like a lot of oh shit with exclamation marks, and a lot of you go girl.
Hell yeah.
Um, but it was probably towards the end, like the last few chapters, I was like scribbling so many notes. I think the last few chapters I probably have like 15 sticky notes alone. So those are probably the best sticky notes.
Yeah, I mean the last 100 pages of each of her books are crazy town.
Intense.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's a Sarah J. Maas
Yeah.
special.
it really is. The blueprint works every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I like the
I don't want to
dedication.
get into thanks. I don't want to get into too much depth, but at one point I was like, I knew it. So we can talk about those moments
Yeah, I mean
further on.
I do have topics about theories and stuff, so we'll go over that then. Um,
Oh yeah.
I guess we can start off with the basic. The how do you feel about this book? I mean, you kind of already did with like your thoughts and stuff, but in comparison to the first one, like how did you feel about this one?
Much better. than the first one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that she like came in with obviously way more action, which caught me in because I'm not a fantasy reader. Like by no means I'm not, and this is probably one of the first fantasy books I'm reading in a really long time. But it was just like it was like every page you turn, something new was happening, and I love that. I love like shit going wrong. Like I just
Christy, it sounds like you would like suspense then, because that's what I like felt with this. Like you write every chapter, I was like, what's happening next? And like Kimmy, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Like I love that, like each chapter. And I would say like the later half of the book, and of course the last 100 page spell there. But I thought like at least the later half of the book was much more like actiony and enticing for me than the first half. It definitely started out slow, but like each chapter I was like, I want to keep going. And I see, Christy, why you probably finished it so quick. You're like, oh shit, what's happening next?
I literally was like reading it in my car before work, reading it at nighttime before bed, reading it in between my lunch break. Like I didn't put.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. In relation to the first book we read, Assassin's Blade, I really did like how it was separate stories, and I'm still very thankful that we read that one first because I felt such a stronger connection
Yeah.
with Selena, and just knowing those little bits that came up in Throne of Glass. I was like, oh, yes, I know that, and I know why that is making her feel that way. But I really did enjoy, again, the pacing of Throne of Glass, especially like once you get past the first 100 pages, then it starts picking up. And I agree with both Christy and Becca. It was like every chapter or two, you were thrown something new or you made a new connection, and that was like really exciting to have that keep happening.
My first read through, I never really realized how much she talked about events from Assassin's Blade until I read it the second time. So, yeah, I personally, like, I'm glad I read Assassin's Blade first just because, like, she mentioned Sam so often. She mentioned being in the desert and meeting someone that betrayed her and, like, yada yada, all these things. So, I do like that she did those little tidbits in there. But I just like this book more because I feel like the writing was a lot better as well.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It was more like, I don't even know what the correct phrasing would be, but like it felt more sophisticated writing, but elegant. Like when I read these books, I read everybody with almost like an English accent. Like, because that's how she wrote the characters. So I kind of got that like Bridgerton type timeline vibe from
Are they
it.
supposed to be English?
I don't know, really.
'Cause that's gonna change how my head voice is now.
Right.
I don't picture Selena with one. I picture Dorian, Kale. Nehemia has more of like like a southern Middle Eastern type of accent. But like Dorian, the King, Parrington, like Caltaine, all them, like I give like an English accent for some reason. I think it's just like the way she's describing like the dresses and how they're have like capes and puffed collars and all that stuff. Like
Yeah,
kind of just
It's very posh.
yeah. That's kind
Yeah,
of how
I
I
do
think
that.
of it.
I did that too, Megan. I think it's, at least for me, like, the whole king system and the courts and everything. I just think of like British monarchy. So
Yeah.
same.
So next question was, who was your favorite character and why?
Hate this question.
Huh?
I said I hate this question
Why? Because it's so loaded.
because it's so hard to pick.
I like Kale. I got a soft spot for Kale. The
Kale.
underdog, man. I'm rooting for him, honestly. I was so happy
That
at
was
the
my
end of the
vote
book when she
too.
was like, nah, bro, sit down. And I was like,
Hmm.
yes!
Kale.
I have so many hearts with Kale on my post-it note.
Yes. This is a hard question for me to answer, I feel like. Just because I know everything, but
Well, answer it honestly based on the book.
based on reading it like this time around,
Yes. don't lean it like in a direction because you've read every and just like
Yeah,
solely just rereading this book. Who was your favorite character?
Yeah, that's fair. I honestly would say Dorian. He's just like, I don't know, he has like such little like subtle character growth that you don't really pick up on. Like, he goes to pick her up at the salt mines and he's like, ugh, this like dirty assassin, whatever. And then like, oh, she's so dangerous, dangerous. And then he's like slowly like thought he would just kind of like hook up with her and then bounce, and really just kind of just started to like her, and then realized like he would do anything for her kind of deal. But I just like their banter and their friendship pretty much. Like, that first they kind of like started as friends. I don't know. I like him. He's sweet.
And that's why it's hard for me to
Oh
pick.
no. Why?
Because I love him, but I also love Kale.
Yeah.
Like, it's like comparing apples and oranges. Like, their relationships, both of them with her, are each like different. But like the way that the banter is and the way that she like flirts with both of them, and just like watching the growth of both of them and like how they both come to like adore her. That's where it's hard for me to just like pick one or the other, because I don't think I could.
Yeah.
I think for me, I mean, I'm on the Kale train all the way.
Woo woo.
I think what sealed it for me was the last fight, what he
Yeah.
did. We don't have to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about it now.
No, we can. You
But,
can
like,
you can get into it. Go for it.
Well, okay, well, just to back up a little. So the Kale train, because number one, I think he's great for Selena. They kind of have similar backgrounds. I think he understands her more, and just like, he knows his place. Like, he's not like hounding her, but like you can tell they have like such a strong relationship. And then, like I said, what sealed it for me, final scene, well, of the battle, when he saw the dagger was going to go for her and he just acted impulsively because he knew, like, I need her to stay alive. Like, I feel like she brought things out in him, and when he did what he did, I was like, yes,
Yeah.
like the biggest heart for Kale.
Same. I think why
Dor-
Dorian. Oh, you want to go, Bree?
No, I'll add more after you.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I thought I heard Bree. I want to say, like, definitely that last chapter was like the make or break for me. I was like on the edge of my seat. But yeah, Kale just like impulsively acting, and like how torn up he was about taking a life, but he did it without even thinking for Selena, like, just stole my heart. But then also, I am proud that like Dorian did have that character growth, but in the beginning he was just such a total asshole to me, and it kind of felt like, going for the good guy versus the bad boy type scenario. But just, Dorian being like, with the king, unfortunately, that he was born under the king, he still has that like poshness, that I don't think they are as much alike as Kale and Selena are. So that's why he wins, and I'm on the Kale train.
Ooh.
Woo woo.
3 for 3.
So Dorian, I did love when he got her the dog.
Yeah, that's what
And-
sealed it for me.
Sweetest
If I
part
must
in the whole
admit.
book, honestly.
What was the dog's
Yes.
name? Fleetfoot?
Fleetfoot.
Fleetfoot.
That was really sentimental, and he won points for that. But and yes, I agree with everyone what you're saying about the character growth, especially at the end when he's talking to his father. Like, you can tell he has a sense of like he's trying to be stronger, and kind of go out on his way and make a name for himself and not follow under his father so much. So I definitely still, like him, but not as much.
No, yeah,
Also,
Kale would be a close second for me, so.
Yeah. I like the jealousy between the two when they started seeing each other. I really like that. I was like, oh, what's going to happen next? Like, the trope of like two best friends fawning over the same girl. So I definitely like that part of their relationships.
But, Becca, why did the part where she hugged him, why did that remind me of ACOTAR? when
Oh,
she hugged Lucian.
Lucian. Yeah.
Yep. I just like, I don't know, like when I first started I was like, "Ooh, is she doing this on purpose?"
Mhm.
But that's just toxic
And
of
sometimes
me.
she did. That was a little toxic. Yeah, sometimes she did. Like if they asked, like Kale's like, "What's going on between you and Dorian?" She's like, "Mind your business." I was like, "Oh, okay,
Mhm.
she's."
I think if I have to compare to, I think the reason why I like Kale more than Dorian, especially in like that last instance in that last battle, it did bring me back to Akhtar when a certain person kind of sat back and didn't do anything, but then the
Yeah.
one person acted because that's true love. All right.
Oh,
And that's how
you
I
talking
thought
about
about
the
it.
end?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then not only that, it's like Dorian just has like money and wealth and stuff. Like he can get her all of these gifts, anything she wants, right?
Mhm.
And he's kind of just catering to her. But that's not what Kale offers. Kale offers something that I think is a lot deeper in terms of like companionship, understanding, and trust overall. Um, so I think that's a lot more pure compared to Dorian. And Dorian is also just like in the beginning like a total man whore. So I think his thoughts
I
were
definitely
not
agree with
pure
that.
in the beginning, and then it's like, oh, now they changed. Where it's like Gale, on the other hand, it's always been pure with him.
Mhm.
He's never had, you know,
Yeah,
other
that's the vibe
intentions.
I got.
I
Mhm.
think a part of me that like wants Dorian more over Kale is the fact that like if we're gonna get into like theories and stuff, I don't think that he's the king's son at all.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one.
So
Yeah.
you see the relationship between him and his father. Like his father has like this disdain for him while his younger brother is away. And in one of the sections that I highlighted, it had mentioned that he doesn't look like his dad at all, unlike his brother Holland, who looks exactly like his dad with the broad frame and round, sharp-eyed face. But Dorian, tall, toned, and elegant, bore no resemblance to him. And then there was the matter of his sapphire eyes. Not even his mother had his eyes. I
Shit,
think,
I didn't pick up on that at all.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
good.
that's one of like
Mhm.
my earlier highlights. I definitely think that I'm rooting for him more because I don't think he's the king's son, and I think that the king has treated him like shit. So that's also probably why I would pick Dorian over Kale at the current moment. But it still would be really hard.
I
Yeah.
want to add something to your theory that kind of branches off a different way. So, how you're saying he may not be related to the king. So, the whole clock tower on
hmm
page 53, the
Oh,
king
can we
had the
open up?
clock tower. The king had the clock tower built around Dorian's birth, and we know that the clock tower plays a really big part of that portal to the magic world. Um, I think I don't know why he would have had it built around his birth, but something is going on with that clock tower. We all know. Um, Something maybe like Dorian was brought to him, and then there was some kind of fight that might have taken place, but keep the magic or something inside. Something with the clock tower too.
So, like, branching off of that, what I think is that, like, he's not his, and the reason why the king wants to destroy all magic is because his parent or other parents, they were magic. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's why Selenia likes him so much, is because they're, like, drawn unknowingly by that
Mm-hmm.
bond.
That's a good
Just
one.
a thought.
Going back
Yeah.
to the
You
clock
two
tower
are like on
too.
top of it. That's crazy.
Do we know what the time frame is for these like battles, like Ardalin's conquest and all of
Um,
that?
you mean like him taking over the different
Yeah.
continents? Uh, I
I
mean,
was gonna say, was that at
he's
the time of Dorian's birth, and that's when this was built?
so
Because then that would have
his
a different significance.
the king's first conquest was on Terrasen. I think it said in the book that that was his first one that he invaded because it was a capital or like it was a giant city state. So that was when Selena said that he attacked when she was 8.
Okay. So we don't think it's
So
around.
she's 17. So like roughly 10 years if he started there and then continued with the conquest. And if he's still doing it, so it's like a 10-year thing. And Dorian is 20.
19, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something like
19.
that. Yeah.
But he would have built the clock tower with the castle before he would conquest everything, right?
And the glass castle was an addition.
But that
Right.
stone
Yeah.
one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I just need like a direct time frame. I wasn't sure if that was connected in that time, and that's why like that clock has like additional significance that he's doing something with it.
Something with those gargoyles, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're staring into her soul.
I did not. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's all you.
I was gonna say I did not connect like the clock tower being so important, but definitely those gargoyles I was very suspicious of.
Yeah, because the clock tower had the, what was it, like 20 word marks on the ground in front of it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was 12. Like I figured like one for each hour.
Oh, you're probably right. I'm probably exaggerating.
I did not take a note on that, so I'm not sure.
I'm sure Kimmy
I didn't
did.
either, but it. Oh yeah, Kimmy probably has it in her 10,000 notes. Give her 5 hours.
Yeah.
I do not.
Oh, no.
Damn.
I think it was 12, though. I think you're right.
I think it was like each position too in like the shape of the clock around it.
Yeah.
So that would
'cause
make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, my thought was like, oh, what's the significance? Like something bad is going to happen with these word marks at, X o'clock. So,
But you never know, because then Nehemia said that they could be good or they could be bad.
right.
Used in the right context.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, the clock tower with all these word marks. If something happens on the hour, brings you back to the Hunger Games #2.
That's exactly how I, like, read it. When I first read that, I was like, no shit. Here we go again.
I think Princess. Okay, let me try to pronounce it with my glossary here. Nehemia.
Yeah, Nehemia, yeah.
Nehemia.
Better than I
think-
said.
Yeah, yours
Nehemia.
was awful, Chrissy.
Nehemiah.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
No.
That's how it went in my head, and that's how it went.
Okay.
Talking about like favorite characters, I think she deserves some credit too, just because what we learn about her later on in the book and how she helped Selena, and that she is she's acting as that true friend, which is like a void in Selena's life. I think she needs some credit too as like a person. Hopefully, we learn more about and they can grow because she saved her life twice. So that was pretty
That we know
cool.
of.
Yeah, she was my second, I think, like, second or third, like, favorite character. Like, she was up there for me. It was, I believe there was a spot where Selena had said, like, she had found a friend in Nehemia, which she hadn't had a friend that she could trust in a while. Which I was like, oh,
Right.
like, Ansel or Sam, like, so yeah, I did.
Right.
I did like her a lot too. She was very sweet but secretive.
Yes, secretive, definitely. Because at one point I was like, she's the one killing everybody. She's the one out to get everyone. She's the imposter. But then when she was like helping Selena at the end of the battle, I was like, that's amazing. Like I want to know so much more about her background and everything like that. And when she gave like the staff to Selena, I was just like, that's true friendship right there. Well, and also when Kale tried to give his sword again, he got another heart from me.
Yeah.
I can't find the line, but I loved there was one line where it was when Selena wasn't giving her credit, like with when she learned that she actually knew their language very well, and she was like, Nehemia could never win the game, but she decided to play anyway. And I just like loved that line that she's like very secretive and she's coming in with all these strategies and she's like, I am going to like defeat the king of Ardaland. And especially she has that like fire in her, like, her rebels are being slaughtered. She's like, a cause to free the slaves. And then like her handing over the staff with like the symbolism it represented was like a chef's kiss. She's like, it's a big middle finger to the king. So I just loved her character and like how her fieriness also like meshed well with Selena too. And then neither of them were alone anymore. So it was like a great little friendship.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, one of the pages, I can't see which one it is, it's too small, but I literally have, regarding their relationship, magic calls to magic. Because in the very beginning of the book, we find out that Selenia is actually some sort of fae.
Do we?
Yeah. What page is this?
Really?
That was one of my theories, but I didn't know if it was like confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
just
right
know her
here.
eyes, like they have like this gold rim around them, and like usually when people describe fae or like their eyes or elves, they have like
Page
gold
47.
specks.
Page 4.
What does it say?
I'm literally here picking up all my stickies to find.
Where is it?
Zoom in, Grandma.
The king of Ardalan had outlawed it all magic, fae, fairies, and removed any trace so thoroughly that even those who had magic in their blood almost believed it never had really existed, Selenia herself being one of them. I read that as, like, it admitting that she is a fae or is of, like, some type of magic faith. Whatever. Can't think of the word.
Yeah, going off what you're saying, on page 30, my note says Faye question mark, and then 31 it says C has magic, her gifts, and then 32 fairies visited her. So I'm like, something's going on.
Yeah.
I honestly took that as like she herself believed magic to be gone. That's how I read the sentence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's just how I read it.
But either way, Christy and Kimmy, I definitely think you're right because one of my theories was that she's like a long lost descendant of Elena, and Elena she's Fae, and like just even the parallels are tying between Elena and Selena, like the long blonde hair, and like you were mentioning, Bree, the eyes, and then also she comes from Terrasen, which was like I guess very meaningful with everything with magic. So either way, I definitely think that there's some Fae connection.
That was the one that gave her the amulet.
Elena.
Right, yeah, like the
Yeah,
ghost in
okay.
the
Yeah.
tomb.
That, like,
And
was, like, pushing her to, like, get the job done
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
killing Cain.
and she also said something like when she last disappeared, and she said something like, "I can't deny blood" or something like that. So I was like, "Oh,
Yep.
Blood ties can't be broken.
I have that one highlighted,
thank
too.
you."
Well, did you notice what her full name was?
No.
I didn't see her last name as
Hold on.
Sardothian, but...
Mind us, please.
So I'm gonna have to try to quickly find it just because my book is different than yours.
Wow.
My pages are off because it's bigger.
Is it Elaine-Tia?
No, that's the name that Nehemia gives Selena.
Okay, that's right.
Like
okay.
a nickname.
And going off of like Selena having powers, so we know that in the previous book, what was her name, the girl that wanted to be a healer?
Yareen.
Or like her family was healers. Like Selena said that she originally when she was younger thought that she wanted to be a healer. Meaning that she had to have some type of power as well in order to do that. That's just not something you could innately be at that time.
True, yeah.
Oh, she married a Helioverd.
Havaliard.
Yeah, Helioverd.
Yeah.
Whatever. But isn't that Dorian's last name?
Mm-hmm.
So, isn't that his, like, freaking grandma?
No, it wouldn't be grandma. She is like really, 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 really old.
Okay. His great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, here's her full name. I'm gonna mess this up so bad. Lania Galithinus? Say it.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Haveliard.
I'm terrible at names. This is why I don't read fantasy.
But it's Gavin, right?
Yeah, Gavin. It's her husband.
That was her husband. He's the Haveliard.
Yeah.
So that was she just took the name, but I bet
Still
Kimmy didn't
lost.
have that on her sticky notes.
I did not.
Slacking. It's okay. You had about 80 other ones you had to take care of. Okay. So I have another question. Which is gonna be really I'm very interested to hear what you guys are gonna say to this one. Again, just knowing what I know. So which character did you dislike or disagree with the most and why?
For me, right off the bat, just because I'm looking at it, Parrington. Can't stand him. He's definitely doing some kind of like dark magic. I don't know what with the freaking ring that he has on his left hand. But I know that it made his pupils expand and encompass like his total eye. So I have it highlighted on page 271, saying like dark magic question mark, just because like there's definitely something going on. He was definitely like controlling Kane, but also I feel like the king knows. I feel like page.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he definitely is
absolutely.
knowing something.
Yeah, page
about it.
443. The king
Yeah.
knew. So I thought that was kind of like shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like Parrington. He can go kick rocks.
I don't
I
like the
agree,
king.
Christy. That's mine.
Well, it's him and
Ooh.
what's her name? The lady.
Chalpane.
Yeah, that was
Chaldane,
trying to
yeah.
use him.
That bitch can go rot in the dungeons.
Yeah. All just because she wanted Dorian.
He is pretty.
He is very pretty.
I would do
But
the same.
I have like
I definitely.
What
5
a
different bullet
hoe.
points about Chaltane and how much I dislike her. The
Right, lay him out,
Chaltane
Beck.
Parrington double duo as well. Blah. I want to barf.
The other thing I feel
Yeah, I
bad is
agree
that.
with
No, go ahead, Kimmy.
No. I was just gonna say I agree with Christy and Becca. Duke Parrington is the person I despise. I said like it's easy to hate Kane, but he is just the host. He's being manipulated. I mean, he probably is a pompous asshole, but like Parrington is affecting how he acts as well, and then the demons and everything are affecting that. So like Duke Parrington is like number one on my list, but then I feel that the king maybe kind of persuading Parrington too, because the king has a black ring, the duke has the black ring, Kane had a black ring, so like all three of them could, as Christy said, go kick rocks. But Duke Parrington is the number one. I despised him in the book.
The king is number one for me. He's the mastermind of all this, not to mention that he is conquering all these lands and murdering a bunch of people, which doesn't sit well
Yeah.
with. I think that's the greater evil compared to Penning. Although he's suggesting it, it's like on the king's orders.
Yeah, true.
Now
Plus he
Selena's
knows
gonna
about
have
the
to do
magic.
whatever he says.
Yeah. Just sign that contract.
Like he's literally like, whatever I say, you have to do, and so like that's gonna be really rough.
Right.
For 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it would be Parrington too, because also he's ugly. So. Like she kept describing him like with a red, like, I don't know, like ruddy face and like fat fingers.
Pockmarked.
Like, yeah, just like, I don't know. Like, she was just describing him in the worst way that I was like, ugh. Like, I can't not picture him. Like, he has to be ugly in my opinion.
I will say that girl had some perseverance.
She did. She tried.
She was like, I will secure my bloodline. And she just dealt with Barrington.
That was a 180 though, where he's like, "What's in your pocket? You have
Yeah.
poison? What are you
I like
doing?"
that little detail she wrote. He said a little too loudly.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
Audacity.
I just pictured it like a
"Literally
drama.
no."
I just put, oh, stupid Cowtane. Like, yeah, she was major ick, but just like, whatever. She
I was
just
hoping that
was
I was gonna
kind of
say I was hoping that someone would
mind-controlled.
call her bluff, and I'm glad that he did.
Yeah.
She got manipulated
But she was
real
being
hard.
mind controlled, right?
Yeah.
Well,
He
that's
was.
what the black
The
ring
ring,
Yeah.
thing.
the ring was influencing her.
Yeah, I would call that
Mhm.
mind control then, yeah. Kind of.
Like she kept saying, like, oh, the headache. She was trying to smoke her
Opium.
Her
When
weed.
she's
All
opium.
she
happy.
Yeah.
did was smoke opium. Holy
Yeah.
moly.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
literally like heroin. So I don't know how she got anything done. To be honest. um okay, so my next question is I know that some of us weren't happy with the ending of Assassin's Blade, so how did we feel about this ending?
It's not the best thing. You know, she's in servitude for 4 years for a dude who's gonna like make her assassinate children and heirs to thrones. Um, but no, I liked it. I have no real complaints. I think there's just a lot more that's open that needs to be discussed and probably will be addressed in later books.
Fair, yeah.
And to bounce off of, I think Kimmy said it earlier that when Selena also shot down Dorian and she's like, we can't do this. I kind of also liked that like glimmer of hope at the end where she's talking to Kale and they're doing their little banter, their little joking, at least like on the romance side of it. I was like, oh, their relationship is gonna blossom. So I did like, that little cliffhanger for the next book.
One of the things the king said was, if you don't do one of my orders, the first person I'm going to kill is Kale.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's foreshadowing, but I could foresee that happening. And then he was like, and then I'll go after the princess. And I feel like, Becca, what you were saying earlier, how she has that fiery spirit, something's going to emerge from that. He's going to try, but then they're going to like rebel so hard, and then something will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then Selena had a dream, well, a nightmare, about it was her, and there was word marks glowing everywhere, and the king, and then I think it said the kingdom of hell was opening up, and the army of the evil was coming, and I was like, oh my god, foreshadowing. Because I said that clock tower is going to crack at some point, and all hell's going to break loose, and the evil army is going to come. So I hope that does happen, because that'd be amazing foreshadowing.
That's what she's known for, Sarah, is her
I
foreshadowing.
get that vibe. Yes.
Yeah. She's really good at that.
Yeah. Also, the king, he knows so much more than has been portrayed to us. Because, like, how he was saying about something about Selena, like the word mark on her forehead. I don't think it came right out and said he knew about the word mark, but he said something with her and magic related. Like, he knows so much more than what we know about him at this moment.
Yeah, because I think he said he knows about word marks, but he doesn't know what was on her forehead.
Yeah.
Like, he's never seen a word mark like
That's
that
what he
on
said.
someone before, or anywhere
Mhm.
before.
which goes against what everything Nehemia and Selena are afraid of, because they were like, I'm glad Cain is dead. What if he told the king about these word marks and he could harness their power? And then we find out later that he already knows about them. So I was like, oh shit.
Oh yeah, he's
He's
like
probably
10
been
steps
using them for a
ahead.
long time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And
Why
maybe
he
that's
was
why
able to
he wants to
conquer
destroy
everything.
the magic.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And I
also
think
another theory.
I think a big part of that too was like him and Parrington controlling Kane.
Mm-hmm.
Like with those rings of whatever they were doing. I think he's trying to like diminish magic so that way he's like the strongest person and only he can use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my guess
Yeah.
too.
But I know this is kind of like off topic, but like I'm kind of curious as to where Arobin is going to fit into all of this because
I
I know he
agree.
has
Yeah.
I know he has to come back at
Mhm.
some point. I know she has to find out like what actually happened, but I'm just very curious because I think it's going to be like holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how's
I
he
was
the king of
shocked.
assassins and doesn't know certain information?
Yeah,
Like,
and how
would
does
he
he
have
not know that
spies?
she's back?
Yeah, she's
Right.
around.
What if he
Yeah, no,
does?
he has to.
Yeah, he knows everything, this guy.
Because he was the king of the underworld, right? Like he, has all the shady dealings and like a hand in everyone's business. So I definitely think, something's brewing.
There's always something brewing with that redheaded man. It's
Oh
always
boy,
shit.
Megan.
Shit's always brewing.
I think one more thing, speaking of Arabin, is we got like a little more detail about her parents. And of course, Arabin has to know her story. So I was like, where is that going to tie in? And how did Cain know? So like, I think it was Kimmy, you said it, like Cain was under Parrington was under the king. They used that magic, and she inferred that Cain could see her memories or read her thoughts. I'm like, how much does the king know about her? When are we going to find out more about her parents? All that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did we figure out what exactly happened to her parents? Because then whatchamacallit? What's his name? Kale again?
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'm sorry about what happened to your parents.
He heard Kane say it. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's when he was sitting on the side of the ring.
Mm.
So he only
But,
heard
like,
what Kane said.
now I read that through that really, really fast. What did he exactly say? Because I didn't feel like I got a lot of information about what exactly happened to them besides dying.
All he said was that, like, basically, like, it must have sucked to wake up in the bed of your parents in their blood.
Mm.
And then saying, like, your mom was a pretty thing, like, your father died a cat. Well, like, shit like that. But that's all
Gotcha.
that was said, was that she woke up in their bed, covered in blood,
Yeah,
and
I found
Kale
it.
heard it.
Yeah, what was it like when you woke up between your parents covered
Yeah.
in blood?
Mm-hmm.
And then the next paragraph says Kale's heart pounded wildly. He could do nothing to help her. So like he was right there and like
Yeah.
was like trying to piece together the stuff about her parents.
Yeah, so he's just saying I'm sorry because that's what he heard from
Yeah.
Kane, assuming it's correct.
Can I ask a question?
No. Yes.
What? Did she say no?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead. What's your question?
I was just gonna. I want to know what everybody's like favorite part was in this story.
Oof, that's a tough question.
It's hard.
Like where you got the most excited or the most like emotional ties. Like when were you like, oh my god, I need to read more?
I think the ending where he was just beating the daylights out of her, and she was drugged,
Oh my-
and then I could see it in my head, like I could picture it as if I was her, like I'm drugged, I'm getting the shit beat out of me, and then all I see out of the corner of my eye is like this guy, like in slow mo, because I'm drugged, like in slow motion, I see like this man yelling, like get up, get up. That whole part there, just like it had me like gripping my hair. I was just like, oh my god, like it did remind me of like Hunger Games. That's why I did like that part a
Yeah.
lot.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good part.
Yeah, I agree. The final fight for me. Definitely, like, I was like, oh shit, she's drugged. Now these, like, the demons are, like, in her world, but not in her world. And, I think at one point she says, like, I'm gonna die. Should I go down fighting or just give up? I was like on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? She's drugged. She can't move her leg. Her shoulder's dislocated, and she's been just, like, beat up, and he's just toying with her. Like, I was so scared that whole scene. And then she just gets up and beats his ass. So I was like pumping my fist in the air.
Especially the part where she was
All the
like,
emotions.
well, I've said it every morning, like, I will not be afraid. I said it every morning waking up in the salt mines, but what good do those words do now? And I was like,
Right.
no, you can't. This is not happening.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I can visualize it and feel it so intensely the way she was describing that whole scene. Before I share mine, what about you, Christy or Brie?
For me, it definitely was that fight scene. I couldn't contain like my emotions. I couldn't even like put the book down to like stop reading. I had to finish it because I just needed to know what was going to happen. Was she going to live? Was she going to die? Was I going to cry? Like, I just needed to know what was going to happen to her because, like Megan said earlier, it's like the imagery that comes out of it, like, I could just feel it, like, all around me. It was, like, the craziest thing. Like, I was so entranced by her writing that, like, when Megan said earlier, like, she feels like she has, like, a more, like, savvy way of writing, this book definitely got me in that way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Definitely, yeah.
Damn. I feel like I'm so cheesy.
Was it the
Yeah, I want to
dog?
hear.
I think I'm a real sucker for romance, believe it or not. But I feel like every book I read needs to have romance. It doesn't necessarily have to be spice. Spice would be nice, but I loved their little like the romance of it and them blossoming. Like I love the action in it too, but I don't know why. I actually favored the romance scenes in this book compared to the action, and I think it really has to do with this being the first love triangle book that I feel like I'm kind of reading. So it's interesting to see like two also like the POVs going back and forth between like what each person's thinking. But I loved when like Kale gave her the ring and like they're like literally stalking her and like right outside her door,
Yeah.
like fighting for her affection.
Because they're teenage
Um,
boys and they're gross.
I loved definitely I think the biggest like points in the book where like I felt a lot of emotion was like when he got her the dog, I was like, "Oh shit, he got her a dog!" I was like, "Oh my god,
I knew it
that's
was
like
the
such a
dog
great
for
gift.
you. I knew it.
That's such a great gift." But the other thing that actually like it hurt me so much was when Kale was like on the balcony after Dorian had kissed her. I was like, "Oh, I feel so bad
Oh,
for
and he was
him."
staring up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just
and
rooting
he
for
goes,
him. So
Yeah.
I know, and he goes, she never thought to look down. I was like, no,
heart.
Look down,
her,
damn
the
it!
betrayal.
She's all like happy and whatnot. It's like, oh.
And he's just crying on the inside.
Right,
Hmm.
right.
I think it just has to because like he's one of my favorite character in the book right now, so I think that's why.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I agree with that too. I think for me, I really love mystery, and I think I got the biggest goosebumps, and we haven't talked about it yet, but when she found the secret passageway and like that whole like few chapters of like her going in the passageway and finding the different things, and then with the I'm gonna say it wrong.
Rhetoric.
Rhetoric.
Yeah, rhetoric.
That whole scene, that probably was like on the same level as the ending fight, but I loved the secret passage, the secrecy, because I feel like so much more can be dived into that. Or, you can dive so much more into that. And then the tombs, and then when he's writing the word marks on the floor and summoning the evil spirits, like that to me was the biggest grab that I'm like, I need more of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean that was also a pivotal moment in the book because you didn't know,
Yeah.
like you kind of like had this inkling that maybe Cain was behind it, but you didn't know the extra mile that that man was going to
Mhm.
do what he was doing. So yeah, that was a good moment too, like because it's almost like that. My God, like a M Night Shyamalan twist where you're just
And it
like,
definitely was, yeah.
yeah, like you're just reading this book about fantasy, and then you get to that part, and you're like, what the fuck was that? So yeah, no, I agree. That one was really good too.
And then also, like, who did it? Like, we were suspecting Nehemia this whole time because she was suspecting Nehemia was taking out the champions, for like as a political thing. And then, like, all of a sudden, we're like, what the fuck, Cain? And then, like, it answers those questions, like how he was getting stronger. So
Yeah,
that,
makes
yeah,
sense.
I mean, I
Yeah.
definitely agree with like that mystery. Like, we finally got the answers over what was happening, kind of like in the background scenes. I love that too.
Yeah.
I
See,
actually thought
And
Cain was a werewolf at one point because they
Oh.
were talking about
Okay.
nails and
Yeah.
eating organs and stuff, and they mentioned, oh, that he's bigger and stuff like that, and that it was
Yeah.
only happening at certain intervals of time. I'm like, where are we?
Mm,
Is it a full moon? 2 days?
Mm.
Because like they were spaced out between like certain amount of months. I was like,
mhm.
what does this happen? So I was like, maybe he's a werewolf, but I was definitely suspicious of Cain. I only was suspicious of Nahima when like after the library incident. That was it. And I was like, huh, maybe I am wrong. Maybe it's not Cain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Didn't really think about that with him.
mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I got suspicious of Kane when Selenia had seen him like coming down the hall
It was like
and he was
breathing
like
weird.
talking to himself and
Yeah.
like breathing weird and stuff. As soon as that was mentioned, I instantly knew it was him.
Yeah, me too.
Instantly. I like all of my other assumptions about Nehemia went out the door.
Mhm.
hmm
Yeah, true. I
And
agree.
again, with the imagery of the rhetoric,
Mm-hmm.
I could just picture
Yeah.
the beast that was in
Ugh,
front of her, and
so
like
gross.
my heart was pounding. Like that. That was some good, good reading right there.
Mhm.
You want to hear
I
something
enjoyed
fucked
that.
up?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So my first read through, you ever? I can't even voice this. Holy fuck! Yeah, did you ever watch the Scooby Doo movie from like 2000 and whatever with Matthew Lillard?
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, you know the the monster things.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So that's the that's how I pictured them at first.
Yay.
I don't know why. Just like I didn't look at the description really. I just that's what I pictured. And now
For
reading it again,
me,
I was
Those
like, it's a little more
monsters are scary.
terrifying. But
I kind of like ran it like across like with Stranger Things. So
oh
like
yeah,
they're
Mm.
coming out of the
So
upside down and like it's all
yeah,
Yeah.
these like strange creatures.
Demogorgons and
So
stuff.
like that's like all that was in my mind.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's better than mine. Mine
No,
was real
that's cool.
silly.
No, it's not.
No, it was. I like reading it the first time. I was like, damn, these things aren't that scary. Like, why am I picturing the thing from Scooby Doo? And then reading it again, it was like, oh, no eyes, pale skin, pulled back, sharp teeth. I was like, okay, that's actually mildly terrifying. Never mind.
Megan, I imagine the Eld actually from our other series, the Her Soul to Take series, because they kind of have the same
Mm.
description almost.
Yeah. 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 Actually, you're right. I think I pictured the Eld with like a gray, like stony patch skin. But
Hmm.
with this, it was
Yeah,
like
but like,
gray skin kind of type deal.
yeah, sharp fangs. I think she also
Mm-hmm.
mentioned like the knees were bent the wrong way, like bent
Yeah.
backwards.
Knees were
So,
backwards.
hmm.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
Did you guys think the word marks underneath her bed were a target for her or protection
I thought that was a
initially?
Target.
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 Yeah. And I thought it was going to
I
come
thought
out
they
of
were
the
for protection.
floorboard. You thought it was protection?
I thought it was protection. I thought it was Elena though doing it.
Okay.
Ah,
I think
I
she
guess
was sorry, go ahead, Beck.
I was gonna say I was thinking like Full Metal Alchemist. I'm like something's gonna be summoned or transmuted through here.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
What were you gonna say, Christy?
I was gonna say at that point, I thought that, how'd you say her name? Elena, whatever.
Elena.
I thought that she was too new of a character to be protecting her, like, because I was still like leery about her saying like, you have to win and be his champion. Like, there's no second guessing it. Like, she was just too new to me at that point. So I didn't trust her in that way. So I definitely thought it was her being targeted, Kane.
Yeah, I agree.
Once she got the puppy, I felt a lot better. Honestly, I was like, that dog's gonna sense something.
Oh yeah, definitely.
She can't kill off the dog.
I was
Ugh.
really worried she was gonna kill the dog. I was gonna cry.
I don't think she would do that. It's awful. Um, okay, so the last thing I have is about theories. I know we went through a couple of them, but this is the last topic I have, so we can open the floor to whatever questions or theories that you have outstanding that you want to talk about.
I'm sorry, I'm looking through my
I mean,
notes.
I figured,
yeah,
yeah.
me too.
I'm like, "Me?"
I mean, we already touched upon it, but the black rings, of course, there's something connecting each of those people with the black rings. I don't think we have seen the last of Cain because when he died, he had the black ring on, and I feel like he might be part of the underworld type now. And I don't think we're done with the other side yet. So I feel like maybe the king, here's a theory, the king or Parrington can still connect and talk with Cain on the other side, and now they have somebody in that realm to do some, voodoo shit. And I think those black rings and all this is going to come back.
Okay, okay. That's solid.
That's my theory.
Yeah, that's good.
Good one.
I don't know the theory behind this, but I highlighted it for a reason. When Selenia went up in the tower and found the sarcophagus of the old king and queen, they said something specific, and I have it highlighted, and it said, "Why was the woman's face bathed in moonlight and the man's in darkness?"
Oh,
I don't know
nice. Okay.
what they're referring to. Like, I don't know how I would be able to connect that to any theories, but there's something there, and I don't know what.
Yeah,
But there's something there.
yeah,
It's
that's
a
a
good
good one.
Another, just hearing you say that, and so I know that we heard Elena, I think that's how it's pronounced, say that, oh, now I lost what I was going to say, but how her and Selena are somehow like connected is what we kind of talked about earlier. So, and obviously we know Selena has the word mark on her forehead that shines blue, and something's up with that. But then, kind of what Christy said earlier about maybe Dorian is not the king's son. So another theory could be that they're both, and this is really fucked up, but that they're both from like the same kind of bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
And when they find that out, obviously things will go awry because of their romantic situation, but feel that Dorian does have some kind of connection to Gavin and Elena because he knew a lot about the background of them as well.
Yeah,
So something along those lines.
that's a good one too.
This isn't really a theory, but I had a question. So we know that like healing is magic, of course, and like when Selena was really badly injured, they were yelling she needs a healer, and then also we were talking about Irene from the last book, Irene, becoming a healer. I was like, does the king allow some magic just because they're healers, or I thought he wanted to eradicate it all? I was just like confused that healers can like still exist, I guess.
So Urine used magic because she was outside of his conquering area. So he hadn't conquered and taken away magic in that area yet, or at all. I don't know, but so she can still use it because she's over there. So it would be the same thing if like I don't
It's
even remember.
legal.
Yeah, like the southern
It's legalized in
continents,
some states.
like in Eloy, where Nehemia is from, like they'd be able to use it there because it's out of his realm. It's out of Rifthold, pretty much. So she
He
can
can't
use
get
it.
to them, so
But
until he does.
Nehemia can use it because she used the word marks. So that was different. She used the word marks
Right.
to heal her. So it's not a magic based.
But like they took Selena to a healer after the duel
Yeah,
because they were
Nehemia
like,
was a
only a
healer.
healer can fix this.
Yeah, it was Nehemia.
But I don't
Oh, I
think
thought
the
it was
king
like a.
knew that.
Oh, okay, but like also I was like, why would they even yell for it, especially if there's no healing allowed in all of Rifthold?
I think the healing is a different part of. It's a different healing. Like you can have a healer which has the magic to heal you, but if you're in a place without a
Like a
healer,
shaman.
like they're saying, like get a healer, like get a medic. I
Oh,
think is what they're kind
See-
of alluding to.
Hmm.
Like
But
that's
I
just
don't
their
think the
term.
king knows that Nehemia can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I don't think he does.
I think in due time we'll find out. He knows and will find out that she can do that, and something's going to happen, obviously. But I think at that point in time he didn't know.
Yeah, I think they just call it a healer because it's their word of anybody who could heal anybody. You know.
right. I guess like in my mind, healer meant with magic.
Yeah. No. Not in Rifthold. It's all gone.
Yeah, that was why I was confused. I was like, how is this working?
Except for frickin' Parrington and the king.
Yeah. There are
Frickin'
exceptions.
what the hell is the word? Hypocrite?
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
I guess that's not, I don't know if it's a theory or not, but you know how this is supposed to be a universe for Sarah J. Maas, and somehow the stories are supposed to be connected. I don't know how. So I try to mark like certain things. Unfortunately, I didn't mark this book too much, but I think the first thing that I marked in the book was like page 38 when Dorian was kind of watching Selena, and he says the girl stays gazing at the stars, and the stars who gazed back. So I was like, is that a reference to the other books in her series? I was like, I don't know. That's a little
Wait,
weird.
Bree, I just have something connected to that too.
Mhm.
On page, what the hell page? On page
I might have it.
455, Elena is speaking to Selena and says, "You could rattle the stars," she whispered. "You could do anything if you only dared, and deep down, you know it too. That's what scares you the most." That's funny.
She has something with these stars, and I feel like it might be related to one of the other books. At first, too, I thought when I was thinking about the beast, I was wondering if these were the beasts in the what's the city called? In the Human City? In the Court of
Oh,
Nightmare.
yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like, is this related? Don't know.
No, those were like. Oh my god, I don't even. Those were
Opening
like
portals to different worlds and stuff. I'm like, wait a minute.
They were like gigantic-ish monsters, kind of.
To your point, Brie, I also noticed that how they described Elena was that she was bathed in starlight, and that's like a like a beautiful thing between. I'm not gonna say their names because Christine Kimmy haven't read it, but like starlight's mentioned quite often too in Akatar. So I was curious if that was like a little throwback, forward, I
I
guess.
didn't even catch that part.
Yeah, she uses
And
it
she's
a
Fae
lot.
too, right?
Yeah.
She's Fae, so I was like, is she linking like Elena, the Fae, with our other set of Fae, like Reese and everybody? So
Does anybody else like pick up like what people's swords look like? What the pommel of their swords are?
Yes, that is actually really
Yeah.
important to me. Like
So-
if I don't know, I
so-
get all screwed up.
So Ansel, I was worried about her because I'm pretty sure she has a wolf, and I was like, is she a wolf in sheep's clothing?
Not
That's
Ansel,
why they
leave her
put that there.
alone.
That's why they put that there.
It's my girl.
When, what's this guy's name again?
Kale.
So to see, Kale. When Kale's sword has an eagle. So if you search up the symbolization of an eagle, it's courage, strength, and immortality. So I just think that has to do more with his character as it is. I don't know if so-and-so, Dorian has a sword specifically. So I try
I
to
don't
look
think he
out for
does.
that. I'm not sure if you guys have picked up on it or have any thoughts on people's swords.
I don't think that deep into it. I kind of just want to know what they look like because I need to know.
Because you're an artist.
Yeah, I just like
She foreshadows too much, so I'm like, what is this little detail here?
Yeah.
I like their names. And Megan and Bree, there's a certain sword that I've been waiting to see if it pops up. So anytime I'm reading this, I'm like, oh, Damaris, okay. So like I like to take the names in case like there's some significance with the sword and why they named it like that.
Which one are you looking to come up? Does it begin with an A?
Yes.
You're funny.
And like you said, Brie, like I'm trying to find places where like the universes could overlap. So I'm
Trying to
hoping
figure it
that's one
out.
of them.
Trying to crack the code.
Hmm.
So I do have a little part I want to share that none of you picked up yet. So this is halfway through. Bree and Becca, I feel like you'll pick up on this, but
I might have tabbed it, but I didn't write anything next to my tabs. I was just tabbing and going.
so this is on my page is 214. It could be different for everybody. But so it's when she's in the library with Kale and she's reading about the word marks and she says, some books claim the word is a force that holds together and governs Aurelia, and not just Aurelia, countless other worlds too. Kale said, I always thought the word was an old term for fate or destiny. And she said, so did I, but the word isn't a religion, at least not in the northern parts of the continent, and it's not included in the worship of the goddess or the gods. So then she says, some theories suggest the mother goddess is just a spirit from one of these other worlds, and that she strayed from something called a word gate and found Aurelia in the need of form and life. And then the last part is, there's an idea that before the goddess arrived, there was life, an ancient civilization, but somehow they disappeared. Perhaps through that word gate thing, ruins exist, ruins too old to be of fame making. So I'll let that stick
That's
with
that.
you.
Person with an A. I think that's what I was thinking about when I read that too.
You said person with an A?
Person with
Yeah, their name
whose
begins with an. I
starts with
agree,
an A.
Bree. I agree. I thought that too because she, claims that we all know that she's from like a different kind of universe and traveled. So I was curious about that too.
Oh, I was like so confused for a second. I was like, who the fuck are you talking about? Okay.
Try not to spoil.
Yeah, so I would just think of
Is that
that.
what kind of vibes you're getting?
Hmm?
Is that what kind of vibes you're getting?
What about what's her face?
Yeah.
No.
I was getting those vibes though, Brie.
No, ma'am.
I'm trying to make connections.
Don't make a connection that way. Think about it in a different way.
Shit.
Think about it in a broader standpoint. In
Outside the
a
box.
more generic standpoint.
Do you guys have any favorite quotes?
Yeah.
Did you tab any?
I said yeah, as in everybody else go, because I don't have one.
I tabbed them. Oh,
Yeah, let's see.
I just wanted to see.
I'll go. Brie, you actually mentioned it. You could rattle the stars.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because I kind of connected it to Agatar, but I was like, that is like one of the coolest phrases to say. Like, I believe in you and you could do anything you want if you set your mind to it.
Yep, I agree. That's mine. It's
I mean,
also a sticker
I really
on my
like.
bottle. So.
What?
I said it's also a sticker on my bottle. Go ahead, Kimmy.
Oh, nice. I just put magic calls to magic with Princess and Selena. Because I think they're going to have a really strong connection and do a lot of damage to people who deserve it. So the
Yeah.
magic calls to magic. It was like a good Bond quote.
It's a good one.
I think mine is when Dorian's like staring at her scars, and she says, "We all bear scars, Dorian. Mine just happen to be more visible than most."
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, wait, poetry snap. You can't hear it on my mic, but
Are you looking for one, Christy?
Yeah, but it's probably the stars one that I.
Yeah.
Oh, I found something else for foreshadow.
Oh, go for it.
This is the only part I don't like about my Kindle. I don't know what page it's on. Hold on. Page 80. When Philippa comes in and is dressing Selenia, Philippa turns to her and says to Selenia, "I wouldn't be surprised if you managed to ensnare some lord into marriage, maybe even his highness, if you were charming enough." I felt like that was her foreshadowing, whether it, obviously it wasn't in this, but maybe in the next book, that her and Dorian will like truly get together. But I don't know. I mean, obviously they little in and outs, some romance of it. I wouldn't be surprised if she does catch him either, and then somebody else higher because of her beauty and like just her being the assassin.
It's a good
Well,
one.
if they did, it'd really piss his dad off, and that could spark something.
Preach. Do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
One more foreshadowing I was thinking of is Knox. Like, she made a really good friend,
I was
and
waiting for you guys to bring this man up.
yeah,
Not
he really only got a sentence. It just said that he slipped away, and then the duels moved up. So I was like, how did he get out? They're talking about, he'd be hunted down and sent back to where he came from or killed on the spot. And like, she kept mentioning like, that he was actually an ally. And then also he found out who she was, and now he's into the wind. So I really want to see, if he comes back and what's going to happen. Or
Yeah, I put
even if he
Knox.
can he come back? Like, are they going to hunt him down and kill him?
I was like, Knox just slipped out of there. I was like, we got to hear how this happened, and it never came about. So
it was that
yeah,
easy. Why
Right?
didn't you leave before?
right.
I
Maybe he knew
know.
about the secret passage.
And then like word of mouth too, like we were finding out about all about the, gruesome details when those people were murdered in the hallway. But I was like, Knox, no one wants to investigate it. He just slipped out and that's all we get.
It's because they're embarrassed that he got out.
Right. Like the guards just had no idea this man slipped out.
Unless he knew the secret passage, and then he found the thing that Selena found, and he slipped out that way.
It's entirely possible.
Mm-hmm.
The man is smart.
Mr. Knox.
I liked his character too. He was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was questionable about him at first, but then she saved him, and then it was a nice little ally.
Yeah, they're
That
buddies.
thing gave me goosebumps. I was like, oh my gosh, can she get to him in time?
Oh yeah, that was a good part too. I like that one.
Oh, the climbing game?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Freaking Graves or whatever the hell his name was.
Yeah. It's trying to saw
Crap.
him off.
I thought it was gonna be like the Amazing Spider-Man, like she just gets him and like snaps his neck on something.
Oh my god, Brie! Wow, it's
He's
too
the
soon. Can't bring that up. It's too raw. Okay, do we have any other theories or questions we want to get out there before we end it? Or any other topic discussion points that we want to bring up?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Alrighty. So this was Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. reviewed by all of us, and we are going to start the next one, which is Crown of Midnight. Yep, Crown of Midnight, that's right. So, yeah, until next time. Bye-bye.
Later.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.